So I guess I don't know what this is. It said something foothills. Whoop. Foothills Freedom Rally. The fight for freedom alive and well in small town Alberta. Now I wanted to play this only because, again, when it comes to some vaccine stuff, some nifty or interesting new arguments appear in this, as well as just like some characters show up who I thought were not going to show up anymore, and they're back. And so it might be fun to just go through this one. Well, fun to go through this one. So here we go. This is some Alberta anti-vaccine rally. And yes, I know, Hildebeest, I know this is your home territory. And I'm sorry for that. I don't know where the foothills are, so I don't know if that's anywhere near you. I don't know if the foothills is in, like, outside of... Headed out to Okotoks. Okotoks? Am I pronouncing that right? Okotoks? Okotoks?
Okotoks.
Okotoks? Anyways, and it's being presented by Adam Sues because he's their Alberta correspondent. So here we go.
Adam Sos here for Rebel News, and we are here in Okotoks, Alberta at the Foothills Freedom Rally, where folks are joining together to oppose vaccine passports.
Fuck yeah. I hope we get DMCA'd.
For this like random anti-vaccine folk song?
Yeah,
you go to the grocery stores, you see directional arrows on the floors telling you which way you're allowed to go and which way you're not allowed to go. And those directional arrows exist in schools as well. And they were there last year, they're there this year. And you might wonder, well, how do those directional arrows work during fire drills? Well, I'll tell you that the first time we had a fire drill last year, the announcement went over the PA instructing students not to exit by their nearest fire exit, but to follow their directional arrows out their COVID exit.
I don't think he's telling the truth. I can't determine whether or not he's telling the truth, but I have a vague suspicion that this guy is making this up. This is probably the same person who would bring 11 items at a 10-item checkout. Yes. I have to say as well, I don't know. Well, here is next point. But, like, I didn't catch the name. Like, who... Because usually they'll have, like, a thing saying their name. There was none of that. So we didn't get a name for this guy. He's just some random dude. So how am I supposed to fucking check to see what he's saying is true? Like, what's the COVID exit versus, like... It is possible that they rearranged the fire exits in such a way that would, like, reduce crowding during COVID. I don't know. Like, maybe there's some sort of protocol that changed, but... Irma God, someone went to the trouble of putting down arrows so we don't bump into cross traffic. I know how that's part of it too. It's just silly, but yeah, I have no way to verify what he's saying, but I highly doubt what he's saying is true.
During fire drills.
I love like they laugh at.
Last year, the announcement went over the PA.
I love the mic fucking
instructing
getting feedback.
Students not to exit by their nearest fire exit, but to follow their directional arrows out their COVID exit. To which
did you hear the
students in my class jump?
Did you hear the person in the crowd go, "Really?"
How? Why is
Are
it
you
that,
serious,
like,
Clark?
teachers and principals are so good at fucking up like PA systems and like microphones in general?
Did he announce himself as a principal? I can't even.
I think he's a teacher, but I'm also speaking of like every principal or like whatever announcer person I've ever had at any school I've ever gone to, where like they're just all shit at like they always have the feedback, and I don't know how. Is it because his
Yeah.
thumb's like on the mic?
No,
Like
he's got good mic positioning into like it could be that he's holding it like this as opposed to like directional like at him. But even then, like it's more the placement of where the speakers are, and I don't know if that's his fault necessarily. Love the U.S. flag canopy behind them. Yes, dear concerned citizen. Also, I have a bridge to sell you. So we got the fire thing. This is his next complaint.
Jumped up and said, "They're trying to kill us."
Oh, the kid apparently stood up because of the fire thing and said they're trying to kill us.
true.
You might wonder how do things work for lockdown, so you'll know that.
Whoa, we're being raided? Yikey! Yikey? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but thank you for the raid. Welcome. We are watching an Alberta anti-vaccine rally. Welcome. Welcome, raiders. What were you up to? It's a Wade.
Hello.
How do I pronounce your name? I don't want to be rude. And I shall go check out your content at a later time. I am not familiar with who you are, but thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. Yikey, welcome. Thank you for the raid. Thank you so much. We're watching. I don't know if anyone here. I don't know if you're Canadian or American or where your raiders will be coming from. Hildy suggested you. Well, Hildy is fantastic. So if you're a friend of Hildy, you guys narcs. Who the raids?
That's what
Australian.
Dan asked. I don't know.
You have some rebel people in Australia. So our content, we cover rebel news. They are a Canadian far right outlet. You may know them as being the people who gave the world the Proud Boys, because they used to host Gavin McGuinness. They also gave the world Lauren Southern, Faith Goldie, assholes like that. And so we covered their content.
Avi Yamini in your town.
Yeah, so I was going to say, Avi Yamini is the rebel correspondent who exists in the Victoria region of Australia. And we rarely cover his Australian exploits because it's mostly him just getting in fights with the police over COVID restrictions, which is, you know how it is. I was playing a bit of Animal Crossing and then watched a doco on the housing market in Australia and how it's out of control. I can believe that. The housing market is out of control here as well. Good evening. I think I've seen you around Twitter talking about the flaws of imperialist propagandas. I mean, we're against imperialism, so we will address imperialist propaganda, I guess, every once in a while. But the name is mainly a pun, a Star Wars-inspired pun based on Rebel News. Because Rebel News, I mean, they call themselves Rebel News. You can see the logo up in the corner, even though they are the pro-imperialists and shit like this. So it's just a...
Black and my hat's down low.
What? I still have not fixed the subscribe thing, and this is the first time it showed up in the last few streams. So I'm glad that it's now playing my subscriptions. Thank you, Nom, for gifting some subs. Thank you very much, and thank you to Squidideer. I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, we're lefties, so we're anti-imperialist in that sense. Yeah, we do love you, no? You are fantastic. And I'm glad it played our thing, Ezra combing the My Little Pony. I see you paywalled the Epic Rebel Commander emotes. That was not on purpose. I only have room to do 4 emotes, and so eventually when I have more space, I will throw out some more Ezra. Or I'll lower Ezra into a better tier, if that makes sense. And since Elron requested the streamer shades are now officially on. My fancy pride.
Them.
Yes, you did. And as you request, I fulfill that request by putting them on. Are you guys kidding me? Thank you for.
Is that true for other requests? Can I make more requests?
Well, I think some of the requests are. Well, are they going to be requests through
Grimpy
chat
Coffee
points?
just redeemed here from Chairman Mao. So
speaking of anti-imperialism, so one of the for the raiders who might think that this is a weird little segment we got going on here, Vienna, who is the co-host, we do a podcast called Imperial News. This is the stream version, but the podcast is we listen to Rebel News, and then I tell Vienna everything that I've heard about Rebel News. But Vienna, who's one of the disembodied voices that's with me, gave me this little red book of Chairman Mao quotes. And so we decided for channel points that people can request, and I will do a reading of a Chairman Mao quote. So Grimpy Coffee just redeemed it, so I'm going to read from the red book of Chairman Mao. And they're really short. They're not long, but like we've made it so far like this much through it, and so I'm curious to see like how far we'll go. So I think we're making some pretty good progress through this thing. So here, I'm just gonna make sure that I haven't read this one yet. All right, here we are. Our party has laid down the general line and general policy of the Chinese Revolution, as well as various specific lines for work and specific policies. However, while many comrades remember our party's specific lines for work and specific policies, they often forget its general line and general policy. If we actually forget the party's general line and general policy, then we shall be blind, half-baked, muddle-headed revolutionaries. And when we carry out a specific line for work and a specific policy, we shall lose our bearings and vacillate now to the left and now to the right, and the work will suffer. This is a speech at a conference of cadres in the Shanxi Suyan liberated area, April 1st, 1948.
God. I love these quotes so much because so many of them were just like, hey,
like,
don't forget that, like, we believe things.
I mean, they're like, some of them are just like trivially true. It's like, there's general policies and specific policies, and if we lose sight of the, like, it's just like, remembering what the sort of like general direction you want to go is good, rather than focusing on all the specifics, and you don't want to lose sight of the overall goal. It's just weird that they decided that little nugget was good enough to throw in this book of quotes. The selection process is
and
the
like
part
so
that
close to the beginning too.
Yeah, it's like that's the thing. This is just the beginning section, which I think is called "On Communism" or something like this. Let's see what the section was titled. The Communist Party. So it's like there's nothing in here that explains like their views on anything. We're just talking about the Communist Party. So there you have it. Chairman Mao. Thank you, Grimpy Coffee. I will now return to my streamer shades. The text, I can't read the text with the streamer shades, hence why I took it off. Ha ha ha, Grimpy paid, so I don't have to. I am better channel points. Oh.
I really want to figure out some way of like doing the bets with channel points.
Well, I guess there's one where you can have people like all throw their channel points together to like do something, but I don't really have a big thing other than the shades right now.
No, like there are bets that you can do with channel points, so it'll be like who's right, Jody or Vienna, and when we all decide that I'm right, everybody who votes for me would get the points from whatever, or like is this video actually going to be entertaining, or is it just going to be annoying bullshit? and whatever. I can't think of examples on what we would bet on right now, obviously.
I know
predictions. That's the word. Thank you.
I think those I need to become partner before I have access to them, which is why I haven't done it yet. Like I can't even do polls. I don't think I can do polls until I'm partner. I think. At least I think when I was trying to like look at, which is, I mean, the same thing with all these things. I need certain like thresholds. Like I need to have a certain number of people chatting in order to open up like VIP spots and like more room for emotes when I reach certain levels too. Stuff like that.
Skidator. I don't know how to say it. I'm rhyming it with skedaddle, I guess. Says no, you get them at affiliate.
I'm affiliate though, but I haven't been able to use them.
I don't know.
It could be a threshold thing. I don't know what it is. Either way, I think we tried to do it and it wasn't letting us. And then when I looked into it, it said I couldn't do it yet. I just know that much. So it is what it is. So for now, I mean, for our Australian viewers who have rated in, we're watching. There's this anti-vaccine rally happening in Alberta. And we're just watching some of the speakers chat at this anti-vaccine rally. So far, all we've watched of this particular video clip is this dude who is has not been named. We don't know who he is, but he was talking about how apparently the children at the local school have to follow, during fire drills, have to follow a COVID plan, and therefore are going to die in a fire. Or something. This is pretty much all we've heard so far. So this is where we're at. And I guess we will now continue to see where it goes. I think it's going to escalate. He's we're going to move from fires now to other things that children have to have drills for. He looks like a poor man's Jeff Daniels. Yeah, I can sort of see that.
That in schools we do lockdowns. We've done them ever since the Columbine incident, and lockdowns happen for different reasons. The worst case scenario is there's an active shooter in the school, and normally what happens is kids will gather in a corner of the classroom quietly. If someone were to get in your classroom, they wouldn't maybe notice them right away. It's not ideal, but that's what happens. And so during COVID, what we do is now we just stay at our desks, because you don't want the kids to gather for the fear they might catch COVID.
So what's motivated you?
So, again, we don't know who this person is or whether he's qualified or whether he's telling the truth, any of this. But what I feel is going on here is that an assessment is made. We live in Canada. School shootings are less frequent than, say, in the United States. But even then, catching and transmitting COVID is a lot more frequent than school shootings are. So you might, in terms of doing a risk assessment, go, if we're going to hold a drill for a school shooting that involves people to be in close proximity with each other during a school shooting drill, maybe it's not worth the risk to do that for a smaller risk by exposing them to a greater risk. You know what I mean? I have a feeling that these are the kinds of things that like people are assessing when doing these like drills. Because I mean, it's not like an active shooting event is happening right now, and they're probably at least still educating teachers what to do if an active shooting event were to occur. But it's like maybe we shouldn't expose the children to COVID risks during a drill exercise. I think that's reasonable. Catching COVID in Alberta schools is basically a rite of passage. Yeah, exactly. It's so silly.
Wait, what's this place called again? Skotos? Oh, no, it's Okotoks.
Okotoks.
Okay. I thought it was...
I have it on the
Skotos,
map. We can.
I was very excited that it was the same forward and backward, but I was wrong.
So it's just south of Calgary. Okotoks. It was funny because he makes a big deal of it being a small town, but it looks like a big town, but like the nearest big town to Calgary almost. I guess maybe there's this Airdrie. Either way. I don't know. Hildy, do you think is Okotoks a small town? Would you consider it a small town? Oh yeah, I did see the Let's Go Brandon
You
thing.
to
I
come
wanted
out
to.
to this.
Thank you for reminding me, Two Cars. So for those who don't know, this Let's Go Brandon thing, I guess, started because Joe Biden was being booed at a NASCAR event, like, or people were saying "fuck Joe Biden" at a NASCAR event, and this like sports reporter said that people in the crowd are chanting "Let's go Brandon," not "fuck Joe Biden," because there's a race car driver that was named Brandon, and so now fascists and right wing assholes on the internet have like now love this "Let's go Brandon" saying. So for some reason now, this is Justin Trudeau, our current prime minister, and they're like, let's put the "Let's go Brandon" thing, and then put Justin Trudeau's face on the thing because Joe Biden. I don't fucking know.
They couldn't like they could have been like "Let's go Jordan" or something, you know? At least change it to start with a J.
Yeah, or do something like I've no clue. I have no clue what's going on in these people's brains. I mean, it's the same thing. I remember this. This goes back. This would have been like 2019, 2018. There was a protest in town. So this is pre-pandemic, but had to do. It was like the yellow vest movement, and one of the yellow vesters came with like a QAnon sign. And this was like way before Q was even that big of a thing, but it was when I started to realize that this Q thing was like, it's become international. Like, this is weird. And it's just like the QAnon thing started from the idea that it was like the Q person was in the like deep state, but like on Trump's side, and was like disseminating information, right? And then I'm like, what does that have to do with Canada? Like, why would you bring that to like a Canadian protest where you're protesting Muslims, which is what they were doing because they're racists? I don't know. It's almost like conservatives just like have their brains have completely broken, where none of their like trolling or memeing is coherent. Not that it you could make some sort of coherent trolling out of like their stupid like clean your room stuff, or like whatever Jordan Peterson shtick that he wants to sell, or the like pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of like you can overcome poverty just by thinking hard enough sort of shtick. Like, they can like stick to those memes. At least it's coherent within their worldview, even though it's false. But like this stuff is just fucking nonsense. I don't know what's going on. Canadian conservatives making U.S. conservatives look popular since 1776. Like, if anything, well, I don't know. Our conservatives have a little bit more of a liberal trend, but only in the sense that I guess my camera went here. 1 second. Only in the sense that I think the two-party system in America ruined it for them. We get the benefit of not having to worry about that. I don't know why it's not loading my camera. Okay, I got an error. Probably have to unplug it and plug it back in. Sorry, folks. Just bear with me. Do not know why it's doing this. And I'm back here. Am I showing up here? There I am. Perfect. Wonderful. All right, we shall continue.
During COVID, what we do is now we just stay at our desks because you don't want the kids to gather for the fear they might catch COVID.
So what's motivated you to come out to this Freedom Rally today?
So I'm a dental assistant. I've been working during the pandemic for the last year and a half.
Yeah.
And in all that time working in spit, elbows deep, I've not gotten COVID, or if I did, I don't even know it. So my motivation to not be vaccinated is that I don't feel that I'm at risk. My husband currently is at risk of losing his job because he works for the city of Calgary and they require them to be vaccinated.
What is with this sign? No vaccine passports. Stop the genocide?
I don't know. I don't even have a joke. Like, I don't even know. Like, that's genocide, apparently. All right, cool. All right.
Two things. One, they think the vaccine sterilizes you. Two, maybe they read the UN Convention on Genocide. Because
Yeah,
then, like,
yeah.
that works out. Like,
That's right. That's right. Displaced people and all that. You are displaced if you
Well,
don't take the vaccine.
I understand, like, they keep talking about segregation and apartheid, but, like, genocide, that one's new to me. Honk for freedom.
yeah, no, it is new. It's just they're escalating because they're desperate.
That's it. It's something.
Unifythepeople.ca. I might, maybe when this video is done, we'll check that out. I'm going to write that down. Unifythepeople.ca. Because that is a new one. I've not heard the genocide claim quite yet. Unifythepeople.ca. All right. Let's unify them all
right now. I'm gonna see what this is about. Oh, it's a beautiful website. Oh
Okay,
my
yeah,
god. Oh my god.
Okay, let's do it right now. Why not?
It's really good, Jody. You gotta check this out.
Okay, 1
Risk
second.
of losing his job.
It's taking a while to load here. Good start.
Yeah, it will. It took me a little while, but it's good. It's worth it.
Oh, this looks like GeoCities up in here. All right.
Yes.
Oh
Did you
my
see
god.
the Unify the People fly in there?
Yeah, they had the animation.
Transition.
Okay, mission statement.
That's some
Create-
free web shit. Let's go.
They're writing constitutions for each current province and territory in Canada in order to form lawful republics that will free us from the tyranny of corrupt governments. The constitutions will be written by the sovereigns of the land and not politicians or elected officials. This will ensure the constitutions are written. Oh, so this is sovereign citizen bullshit. Oh, that's fun.
That's amazing.
Unify the People is a grassroots movement of like-minded sovereigns who wish to save their freedom by writing and instituting. Okay, yeah, you're just saying the same shit. Who owns UnifyThePeople.ca? UnifyThePeople.ca is the website name that was developed by many sovereigns. Oh my god. It's just
Not owned by anyone.
that is not owned by any one sovereign. Many sovereigns have put money into not only purchasing the name but also paying for the development programs and web hosting. The domain name currently must be held by a sovereign, but the mutual understanding of the sovereigns is that the name Unify the People, as well as UnifyThePeople.ca, belongs to the movement. Decisions in its regard are made by a core of sovereigns who are actively involved in the administration of the movement. So they're like oligarchs.
It's like one of those like mock parody futuristic societies where like they have one word that means everything. It's just sovereigns. The sovereigns have sovereignly decried that sovereignness. It's amazing. I fucking love it. You have to check out their library, their video galleries. It looks really good.
An independent nation, we sovereigns are the source, the power, freedom of speech. Sovereigns have unalienable rights, no more income tax, the right to practice your own spiritual beliefs, freedom from treason, right to bear arms. All decisions are made by sovereigns. Okay. You said there's a video library? I guess there's a...
Oh, yeah. Video galleries. Oh, I mean, yeah, I haven't checked those out.
Of Canada.
I got to see that.
But they have a video galleries?
Oh, yeah. It's really good clips. Really good.
Oh, my God.
I haven't even seen the clips. It's just the
oh my God.
thumbnails for this.
Join the solution? Oh, God.
Fuck.
Interview real people sharing their stories, 6 videos. Panel discussion that helped to educate the public, 8 videos. Oh, man, this is going to be a Wednesday. We could probably plow through some of that.
You gotta do one stream on this. This is amazing.
I was hoping to get at least some sense of, like, the genocide statement. But, yeah, anyways. Very special people that the Rebel is interviewing. Well, I guess this isn't the person the Rebel's interviewing. It's the person standing behind the person. Either way, fascinating. Watch the videos you want to. I feel if I click the video, it's going to crash the stream. That's how I feel about that website. All right, so we're just going to maybe I'll go through some of it and I'll see if it's boring or not, and we'll go through it on a Wednesday.
Because he works for the city of Calgary and they require them to be vaccinated. They now moved the date from November 1st to December 1st. So I come to these rallies to get empowered and be around like-minded people, and hopefully our voices are heard and we shut all this down.
Okay.
I also want to say, like, she was the one saying she was the dentist, right? And it's like, she was saying, like, she was, like, getting spit all over her or whatnot, but it's like, I'm sure she would have been wearing PPE. I, like, almost guarantee she would have had to be wearing, like, probably a face shield and a mask underneath the face shield.
That's generally how it's been when I've been at the dentist.
Same.
Twice over COVID, so would assume so. This is Ontario, and I don't know about Alberta.
Yeah. I mean, Alberta...
Wildebeest, have you been to the dentist?
Yes. Was your dentist wearing masks if yes? This person, you're going to like this person, Vienna. They're a comrade from Soviet Russia.
Fuck yeah.
Not quite, but
I grew up in Soviet Union, in Russia, under oppression, and for me it hurts so much because like our Russian people, they were trying to build communism for 70 years, and finally we give up because everyone realized this is nonsense. You know, like engineers and
this lady couldn't have been more than 10 when the Soviet Union collapsed.
But I don't even understand what she gets there with it. Like, they gave up. Like, was it that they gave up in trying to, and that's why Soviet communism like turned bad, or was it that I don't even know what she's trying to say. I'm just totally fucking lost at what she's trying to say.
No, I think she's saying that Soviet Union was genuinely striving towards communism, but that communism fucking sucked. Because she doesn't understand what any of those things mean. And also probably lived through, you know, some of the larger demographic losses in history when Soviet Union collapsed and socialized housing and food and everything like that were taken away. I bet she's had a genuinely shit life. Like,
well, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
I think that is actually going to come up, and I don't think she did. But anyways, I do want to say, I forgot, Hildy did say that they actually practiced dentistry in the past. So, but they say they're no longer practicing, but that PPE has been required for the last 25 years. That's true. They've always worn masks. So. And yes, Nam Hildebeest is the official Imperial News Alberta correspondent. True. Very true.
well, there's like people were all just equal. We were not allowed to leave Soviet Union, like KGB.
So the people were all equal and were not allowed to leave. Okay, interesting. Interesting thought.
You would just follow us, and like people were restricted to live their life.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can see it's kind of like back to USSR, back to mid-70s Soviet Union. And I can't believe this happening in Canada.
Oh man,
So they get back to her again, but I also I love how they compare us now. Like, so this is a person who claims that they grew up in the Soviet Union, claim that they existed under the communist regime there and how they had no freedoms. And yet now Canada is now like the USSR. And I have to say, if Canada right now is like all the fear-mongering they say happened in the USSR, I have to say the USSR doesn't sound as bad as they make it out to be, you know? If what we're living under now is Soviet communism in Canada, all right. Sure. But now we get Lindsay Butler, who's apparently a performer.
you're gonna make me cry. I get so emotional about this. To be honest, the fact that discrimination is now being warranted or forced in Canada, and I know that is not what this country is founded on and built upon, and that is not what our veterans and forces have fought for and died for. This is not, that's not what Canada's about.
Are all those things.
And that's certainly a sentiment we can echo. I don't know if you know about our Raise Our Flag campaign at raiseourflags.ca, calling for those flags.
Well, since you bring up the troops, have you heard about our new website about raising the flag? We're promoting all troops to have sex with the flag on November 11th. In order to honor that flag, you gotta treat it like a lady. Come on, Vienna.
It does fucking suck that Adam Seuss won that struggle, because it's been announced that the flags are going back up to to full mast after November 11th. So yeah.
Why? Why?
Because we solved it.
Oh
Indigenous people have everything they need now.
I mean, I do have to say, like, all of this is stupid. All of this is so stupid. Yeah, she's a Canadian flag will return to full mast after Remembrance Day ministers. After Remembrance Day? So it's not going to be on Remembrance Day. Because if it's after Remembrance Day, their campaign failed because they wanted it raised on Remembrance Day.
I think it's going to be raised. No, yeah. So, it'll be raised at sunset on November 7th, lowered at sunrise on November 8th to recognize Indigenous Veterans Day. They'll be raised again before being lowered on November 11th, Remembrance Day. And then they'll be raised after those ceremonies are over.
You know what? Let's just not have a flag anymore. Let's have none of this. This is so stupid. Oh my god. Flag stuff
forward,
is so
the national flag of Canada will be half-masted to mark the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation every September 30th. I fucking hate this country so much. Oh my god.
Oh. Yeah, like, but I love Trudeau said that they're going to keep it at half-mast until reconciliation is over. What a liar. What a fucking liar.
He got bored of that, and people are no longer paying attention to it, so...
This is the equivalent of when he was promoting election change, and they got elected in 2015, and did not change our electoral system. It's the exact same. We keep trusting this guy. I don't know why we keep trusting this guy.
To be raised to honor the veterans who fought for our fundamental freedoms.
We're part of a group that is mounting a constitutional challenge against Alberta Health Services. Yeah.
So this is Tim Moen, who's apparently a firefighter and a paramedic. So hooray!
Like that. Yeah, they mess with the wrong people. They mess with folks that run into burning buildings for a living, and so we're used to dealing with
he runs in
chaos and destruction and dealing with them.
Yeah, he runs in with no protective equipment because why do you need that? You can just like.
No, he knows how to handle a fire. Yeah. Come on, he's never been burned before.
Yeah, ban. Well, I mean, I just ignored them because I figured that was the case. Hildebeest. I mean, why would they come into my chat and tell me they're live when everyone here is enjoying our show? I don't understand that. They're watching my stream live and using it for content? That's weird. I do not know why people would do that. Whatever. Let's listen to this firefighter and pandemic person.
We're representing not just firefighters, but we're also representing all healthcare workers. We have hundreds of healthcare workers that we're fighting for. Frontline workers like nurses, physicians, LPNs. Everyone out there is affected by these vaccine mandates.
I mean, how many people are in Okotoks? I mean, this could be people coming in from a Calgary as well, given the close proximity. But I'm curious, population-wise. I mean, they have 28,000 people. Yeah, it's a sizable crowd for 28,000 people if they're all locals. I mean, there's also going to be like outskirts or that as well. Still, what do you say? A couple hundred? Looks like maybe there's a couple hundred of them.
Opiate addiction, mental health crisis, untreated medical conditions that have just gone untreated for so long.
I mean, it is still too many of them, but like as we said when there was people in London, they came from all over Ontario to come here. So
in some places, we've lost up to a third of healthcare workers. In Edmonton Metro right now, a third of paramedics are said to be off, rumored to be off on stress leave, but good luck finding any of those statistics. They keep them to themselves. So we're understaffed and our call volumes are off the charts, and now they want us to lose more of our co-workers. They want to leave the communities even less protected. They want to stress the system even more than it's already stressed.
I love like this like a move that they make, which is that like they want to stress the system even more, where it's like, you know what would also not stress the system? If you just get fucking vaccinated and you can keep your jobs and you would still be helping people during a pandemic, and voila, system not stressed. But instead you're like, what, they're going to fire us and put stress on the system because we're going to deny the effectiveness of a vaccine during a health crisis? And then want to exacerbate that by allowing unvaccinated people to then go and work and treat people who quite potentially could be suffering from diseases or disorders that cause their immune system to be compromised. It's just such a selfish thing, but they're putting the blame on the people enacting public health policies for it.
This is a war of values between authoritarianism and freedom, between those that want you to submit to an unending violation of your basic human rights,
our basic human rights,
and those that say no more.
The agenda of preventing a pandemic.
That's why I'm here today. You see, the establishment wants me to view you as the enemy, because here's my confession.
The establishment. What establishment, bud? Say it. Who are them? Who are they, sir?
PepsiCo.
You know what?
What is this? Are you guys kidding me?
Let's go, Brandon. Thank you for the follow. So we also have chat points for a Pepsi advertisement, and for that we'll go. Listen. Basic human rights are good. But you know what tastes better than basic human rights? The cold, refreshing taste of a Diet Pepsi. You know, basic rights, they make you feel good, but they don't have the bite of a carbonated soft drink.
Off the flavor.
Oh my god. They don't have the flavor of basic human rights? Hell no.
No, I mean, human rights just don't have a flavor, whereas Diet Pepsi does, you know?
Yeah.
You won't get your caffeine intake from basic human rights.
That's right. Basic human rights do not give you the energy necessary to plow through a stream, you know? Only Diet Pepsi can do that. The negligible amount of caffeine in a Diet Pepsi can do that. You know them, the liberal elite, the cosmopolitans, you know. Diet Pepsi drinkers. He's going to confess. So where we left off, he's going to confess. He has a confession to make. Are you ready for this confession? Here it comes.
I'm fully vaccinated. I'm even pro-vaccine, but they want me to believe that you are the enemy. You're the reason that we don't have freedom.
I'm so pro-vaccine. This is why I am currently at an anti-vaccine rally and siding and standing and supporting anti-vaxxers. That's how pro-vaccine I am. I fucking hate these people. God damn it.
This is utterly ridiculous. This is like
a
slave master blaming disobedient slaves for the extra lashes that everyone gets.
No. Just no. I was getting ready to quietly leave, and then I hear this shit.
I don't even get it. Oh my god. Yeah.
That look in his face too is just the look of I should not have fucking said that. I should not have said that.
I hope no one contacts my place of employment. Oh shit, my name's at the bottom of the screen.
Christ, dude, come on.
Oh my god.
Even you knew you were reaching with that one. The stutter gave it away. You knew that you should complete it. I kind of want to give him like a pass too.
I want to hear it again because I don't even know how the analogy works. I want to try to make sense of it. Here, let me.
This is like a slave master blaming disobedient slaves for the extra lashes that everyone gets.
It's.
How is it like that?
It hurts more listening to it the second time.
It hurt. Yeah, it definitely hurt more the second time. It hurt the second time.
So
I don't think
firing the nurses.
I think you're asking the wrong people here.
See, now, like, where I paused it, it looks like he's like, yeah, I fucking nailed that. I was up all night crafting this thing. I fucking nailed it. That's
I don't know. It still looks like, fuck.
Oh, God.
It's a convenient mechanism of control, and I can see right through it very clearly, and the silent majority can too, and that's what I'm here to tell you.
You know, we talk about it all the time. I hate when they always mention the silent majority. I hate it. Like, all those people that are not here and not making noise and not being counted, they're really on our side. Trust me. Wink! The silent majority. Get the fuck out of here. Like, that's why, like, in polls that are conducted on vaccine policies, you know, you get 70 to 80% approval. But don't worry. The silent majority really is on our side. Trust us.
Things that are good, like charitable giving and getting vaccinated, do not require force. In fact, using force corrupts the goodness of those things and destroys individuals and nations in the process. If you find your...
Do you follow that one?
I hope so.
I
hope it destroys this nation.
Forcing I want to follow, like, the logic is like forcing anyone to do a good thing is actually what destroys society. So traffic laws destroying society. I mean, they're forcing people to obey traffic laws in order to create order on the roads to decrease the amount of accidents and casualties. So that's bad because there's a good outcome, the reason why we implement this thing, and it forces people to behave by, like, ticketing them for misbehavior. Excuse me. But that apparently is actually going to be the downfall of society because it's forcing people to do a good thing. I don't, like, why did, like, these people clearly think that they're smart. He thinks he's so smart. He's standing out in front of a crowd of people with his prepared notes on his iPad, and he thinks he really fucking hit upon something so profound here.
Yourself arguing about vaccine efficacy or the severity of COVID-19, then you're reinforcing the corporate media paradigm that this is about science versus science denial. If you say that you're on the side of science and they're on the side of science denial, you're reinforcing that false paradigm. This is about coercion and consent, authoritarianism and freedom. I just want to give you a quick update about where we're at in our fight. We've sent a letter to AHS with our demands. We are getting ready to file an injunction against AHS to press pause on this policy until this constitutional challenge can be heard. Our lawyers are formulating this right now. We are picking up support from all over the place. In fact, Rebel Media has offered to very generously to support our entire legal action. Our guys don't have to worry. Yes, big round of applause for Rebel.
So, Rebel often says that they're not promoting these things. They've been accused of that and they'll say on their show that we're not actively promoting these things and we're not actively doing this stuff. Yet when the rally goers, specifically the people who are filing lawsuits and taking a stand, go, don't worry, them over there, the ones currently filming this whole thing, they're on our side and are like paying for our legal fight right now. Fucking lie. And then we're also going to post it because they don't give a shit. And I agree, Orbist Cheval, that yes, they really do just need something else to do with their time, and nobody would show up to this 100%. What we need is like COVID quarantine bingo halls or something. I mean, camps, comes with some connotations. So let's bingo halls is probably what we need here.
Hockey rinks.
Alberta used to have some nice camps until Kenny sold them off. Yeah, well, apparently Kenny sold off the ICU nurses too, which is, they want to sit up here and be like, well, if they get rid of the nurses who refuse to get vaccinated, that's going to cause the crisis. The crisis is in place because of the funding issues due to Kenny undercutting Alberta's health system. Why is there an American flag behind this guy? You tell me, Hildebeest.
USA. Maybe they're Mavericks. Is there who are the faction of Wexiteers that want to join the US? They have a name?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, well, maybe they are Maverick. I don't know. Oh my god, it just resetted the video for some reason. Maybe they are the Mavericks. I don't know.
To very generously to support our entire legal action. Our guys don't have to worry. Yes, big round of applause for Rebel. This takes a huge burden of stress off our guys who, on top of losing their job, are facing giant legal bills to hold on to them. So thank you so much for that. We're going to win this, and we're going to take this all the way. There's a saying in the fire service.
We're going all the way.
We're on a fire scene. One of our benchmarks is called loss stopped. That means that all the loss has stopped. All the damage being done has stopped. We put out the fire. No more damage is being done. We're going to keep fighting this fight until we can declare a loss stopped, and we won't stop until we achieve that benchmark.
I love he's like, I'm gonna incorporate jargon from my career and use it to apply to this situation because it makes me sound smart. You did it.
He said something about they want Allah stopped, and I totally heard like Allah, like God, and I was like, what?
It's not even Allah.
Why is this taking such an Islamophobic turn? Like, what?
I think he's saying a loss stop, not Allah stop. Yeah, so a loss stop is the idea.
Allah.
No, because what he's saying is it's like there's a point when a fire is no longer going to damage the goods in the house, and so it's no longer going to you're no longer going to lose stuff in the fire. It's a loss stop.
Oh.
We'll hear it again just so we
interesting.
That benchmark.
Stupid fire turn.
Until we can declare a loss stopped, and we
see a loss stop.
Oh yeah.
We won't stop until we achieve that benchmark.
Yeah.
And what do you say to people? There's people out there who haven't experienced communism,
the Soviet
haven't
lady
lived in
again.
a country where they're not free, and they don't believe it. They don't.
I just noticed that the Soviet lady has a unify the people sign.
Hell yeah. She wants to unify the people under the Communist Party of the Soviet Union.
Stop the genocide!
Constituted.
Oh my god.
I don't believe that that's happening. From your personal experience, you're seeing the same signs?
Yes, I think because you, like in Canada, you had such a good life, and I think Canada was always free country. You never had any oppression, no tyranny, but now most of people, they just say, no, this is not happening. We have to trust our government. We didn't trust our government in Russia because we realized that We were slaves. We were slaves of our government. We were doing what we were told to do. And it hurts so much that now in Canada, people have to do exactly the same.
I know lots of people who grew up.
Was any of that coherent to you?
No, it wasn't really.
So, Russia, bad. We stopped listening to our leaders, but people here listen to the Canadian leaders. But it's tyranny and it's bad. Yep.
Up in communist countries saying.
Although she says like we never had a past of tyranny. There's never been oppression in Canada, ever. That's never happened. Zero oppression, zero tyranny. Correct, two cars. There's none of that has ever happened in Canada. Not once. Zero.
There's never been oppression in Russia before the Soviet Union.
It makes, like, based on what she's saying, it makes me wonder.
Was loving and wonderful.
It makes me wonder, like, is she like a Putin supporter based on what she's saying? Like, I wonder where she would fit in. I have so many questions for her.
In communist countries, at least you knew the government was lying to you. Here, people actually believe the government even when they're lying.
Yes, so this is very upsetting, to be honest, and that's the reason we're trying to participate. I just want to share my experience, because I remember my family, we couldn't travel abroad. We were just stuck in the Soviet Union, and we were not allowed to go anywhere. And if you like it, you get out of the country, you would have KGB agent following you, you know, just chasing every your step. And they would be, when you back to Russia, there would be like party, like everyone was member of Communist Party, and they were just saying like, oh, you be careful what you say while you, for example, in Eastern Europe on your like holidays. It wasn't holiday actually. It was just people were lucky if they were allowed to leave Russia.
Are people going on holidays or are they not going on holidays? And if they're going on holidays, are you? What? I don't know what the fuck is going on. I want to know. Are the people going on holidays? Because I have a feeling she went on some holidays. And, like, she keeps on saying that, like, you couldn't leave the country. Yet if you couldn't leave the country, how are you here? Are the KGB following you now? Are they still following you?
No, she's talking about the Soviet Union. Like,
yeah, but like,
it's also just
when did they move here? Like, maybe if she got here like yesterday, I have no fucking clue what's going on.
I mean, considering how thick her accent is, like, she was definitely an adult when she left, and she doesn't look like ancient.
40?
So yeah, like she looks like 40 or maybe like mid-40s. I don't know. But like, considering the Soviet Union fell 30 years ago,
like when I was
she
a
was
child,
probably there in the like you know, like she was probably fairly young when that happened.
I wonder if part of it is she's like probably reciting like stories that her parents told her, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, like, it is very weird to be like, oh, there was no vacation time. Like, no, they had pretty good vacation time. And, like, cheap travel to anywhere in, like, the Soviet Union or the Eastern Bloc countries, which is a huge area. Like...
Could you imagine, though, if every time you left on holidays, the KGB would follow you? How many KGB agents would they need to hire to monitor everyone that's on holidays?
It's also like, oh, you mean that the border agents are going to ask you where you went and what you did? Like, you mean how border agents are pretty much everywhere that there's firm borders? Like...
Well, she even earlier on said that Canada currently right now is like Soviet Union. How many people are being tracked by CSIS when they go on holidays outside of Canada? How did Yankee...
every Muslim.
CSIS agents followed Yankee Pollock when he went to that Florida conservative conference.
Canada is like Soviet Union. 1. Big. 2. Cold. 3.
Police state.
Vaccines. 4.
Canadian gulag system.
I was trying to think of letters in common, but I'm kind of blanking.
Red in our flags.
Yep, there we go. That's another one. Oil and gas.
Maybe Simone is CSIS.
I think we got it.
I love it.
Week and come back, and it's KGB would check every word they said, well, and
she busted herself.
Yeah, I mean that's like the equivalent of like, so they came home with the KGB when they got back from holiday. Were at the border and asked us questions as we re-entered the country. Oh my god.
Out of her care home today.
Hell yeah.
We don't like what Kenny's doing to Alberta and the Alberta Health.
They freed this poor lady from her care home so that she could come to this rally with unvaccinated people and then bring it back to the long-term care home and infect all of her friends. Yeah! Jesus Christ. Oh my lord.
System, and I got so mad last week when I had an elective surgery for cataract surgery waiting a year and the damn thing was canceled. Why was I mad? We're not going to get anywhere unless we stand up and we speak. So I wanted to come out because I believe in that, and I know we all need to do that and do it more often and in more places.
We've seen lots of...
I'll tell you right now. My 97-year-old grandma also needed cataract surgery. She couldn't get it done because of the pandemic. She got it done recently. But you know what? She never once fucking complained because she realized that this was a global pandemic and she cared way more about that than the fact that her surgery was getting delayed. So you know what? Other old person? The people who are old and related to me are cooler. Is all I have to say to that. Get vaccinated and stop complaining. Oh my god. Yes, fuck everything, fuck all of it. Narrator, Grandma died of COVID 2 weeks after this rally. Yeah. Jesus Christ. I can't... I mean, even my dad had to have hernia surgery, and that got delayed and delayed and delayed. He finally got it, which is good, but like, even my dad... I mean, like, we're even struggling right now with, like, I've already expressed it with my family situation. And we found out now, too, that, like, my grandma is pretty much going to be permanently stuck in the hospital because of everything. Because of, apparently, like, in order to get into long-term care home, you need to, like, fit a couple criteria. One of which is, like, you need to have, like, fallen over and needed assistance or whatever. And I guess it's like, given the duration or how the cancer has progressed, my grandma has never been put in that situation, even though they've deemed her like unable to like walk on her own. So now she's like stuck in limbo at the fucking hospital, and they're not like putting in her long-term care yet, which is great. Just the whole situation sucks, but it is what it is. But even there, my dad and my family is aware that like these situations are in place to protect other people, even if it affects us in ways that makes the situation suck. We realize that this is for the greater good, and even though we love our grandma and it sucks what she's going through, it sucks that other people are dying from a global pandemic, and you fucking deal with it. You don't do what these assholes are doing. You deal with it, and you find a way to come together as a community and help each other out. By getting vaccinated. Her eye surgery canceled because those darn people died from COVID-19. Right? Right? Jesus. Gosh, if only there was something we could have done to relieve pressure from the healthcare system to keep the economy going. To have vacations. Ever heard of such a place? Yeah. How is Australia doing right now? Because your numbers are going up for like the first time during like the entire pandemic. It's I mean, like, your deaths are still relatively low, which is good, but Two cars. What happened to the idea that grandparents are willing to sacrifice themselves to save the economy? I mean, that's what she's doing right now. She's sacrificing herself.
The big rallies in the big cities, but small towns are starting to become a movement, and these rallies are growing every week. What's it like to have the small towns coming out in support of freedom of choice and bodily autonomy?
Well, I think it's great. I think it's every town is affected in some way, businesses and the people themselves. And just because you're a big city doesn't mean you're actually feel the effect more.
Right.
Small towns actually feel the effect more on these mandates than big cities do.
And any words to folks out there who are going through hard times, maybe facing loss of employment? Do you know anybody who's in that situation?
Oh, I am for one. I've actually got laid off from Air Canada. So, because I don't want to take the vaccine, and just keep the faith. The fight, yeah, that's basically about it. Just...
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know, but we are.
I do appreciate the beard game going on here, I must say. Some swell beard game. But I mean, like, here's the thing. You could have kept your job if you got vaccinated. Problem solved. Australia is going down now, under 1,000 a day. We have opened up to people who have been vaccinated. Nice. The funny thing is, you say that, like, I follow like Australia with it a lot. Like we're still getting, it looks like about an average of 2,200 cases a day, and it looks like it's starting to plateau again. So we're going to be stuck with 2,200 cases a day for a while. It's amazing because like I think we have a larger population than Australia, but our deaths are like, I can't remember what's the population of Australia again. Australia. Population. So we have 10 more million people than you. But even though that's like the case,
12 or 13 more million. Like
right, yeah. I rounded, but yeah.
Yeah.
But you only have like 1,000 deaths. We're at 30,000, pretty much. I rounded there too. It's like 29,100 something.
Yeah, I mean, and excess deaths are a lot higher than that. So
yeah,
probably our COVID deaths are way worse. Woohoo!
Why are they so against vaccination when some jobs force them to get multiple vaccinations? I mean, part of it is that they've moved the goalposts, saying there's something specifically wrong with these vaccines, or they haven't been tested long enough for these particular vaccines. But like, a lot of the vaccines for other diseases are somewhat new as well. It's like, it's not like we are using the exact same like formulas, if you will, for some of the vaccines that we get like from like the 50s or whatever. You know, we update them and change them as we get better science and whatnot. So, I mean, these arguments are just, they're bad arguments, you know? But like, we've said that multiple times on this stream, which is like, I've had to work in daycares before, and I had to make sure that I had an updated vaccine record before I could work in the daycare. I even had to get like tuberculosis tests. And at no point did I make a fuss about how this was against my freedom of choice and bodily autonomy. Yeah, no. I agree, Yike. I agree. They're against vaccination because it's a bullshit excuse to recruit fellow people of a certain persuasion about other issues. Yeah, pretty much.
We're actually launching one lawsuit, particularly against the union, because they're not defending Air Canada employees for the very same thing. So hopefully there's some precedent set with
I love
that
like
case
Adam's in the crowd always going, well, Rebel News is fighting things.
The last year
you should be our friend.
Months, all of these policies, you know, Section 1 of the Charter does allow, there's a small window where government...
So this guy right here is a fellow named John Carpe, okay? Now, the interesting thing is it says John Carpe, former head of the JCCF. Former head of the JCCF. Now, the reason why it says former head of the JCCF is because this asshole decided that he was going to hire a private investigator to stalk a judge for a client of his who violated some policy having to do with COVID. And the reason was he was going, we're going to do this in order so I can catch the judge in like a hypocrisy moment, as if like the judge was going to go to a beach and not wear a mask. And then John Carpe was going to be like, hey, hypocrite. But he was caught doing this and was kicked off the JCCF. Now, the JCCF is super far right. This guy used to go on Ezra's show all the time. He hasn't been on since this happened. He's kind of drifted off of the Rebels' radar, which is why I was kind of interested that he showed up here. And not only did he show up here, they're showing him and they're putting his name on the thing, but he hasn't been on the main show for a while because of this like kerfuffle. But it is also worth noting that the JCCF, which is a very far-right think tank, or not think tank, but like, I guess, legal thing, but they did reinstate him as their leader. So this thing that happened in August, and they've already reinstated him, okay? And not only did they reinstate him, but like board members resigned over it. And some of the board members that resigned are pretty interesting. So we have a guy named Bruce Party, which if you listen to the podcast, I can't remember if the episode's out yet or if it's going to be out. But me and Vienna already talked about Bruce Party, who's been on Ezra's show. And even Barbara Kay left the organization because of John Carpe. You know, we talked about John Kay last Friday. You know, the guy who used dog shampoo. That's his mom. She works for the National Post. She left the JCCF over all this, so. But the JCCF reinstated him. And even if you go to the JCCF's website, you can see he's still listed there, John Carpe, as the president. With other notable individuals like Lindsay Shepard, who's also a member of the JCCF, in case you were wondering. Is the JCCF like the Fraser Institute out here? So it's not a think tank. They're like a legal organization. Most of the cases that they take on are like far-right cases. So they're involved in a case in BC that has to do with some custody hearing with a parent who refuses to accept that their child is trans. And they're defending the father who refuses to appropriately pronoun and refuses to administer the treatment that has been determined for the child, given their trans diagnosis. So they're a shitty organization, and they do that, and they worked with Rebel for a while doing the COVID stuff. The thing is, I don't think the relationship exists anymore with Rebel for the COVID stuff because, again, I should say, he hired a private investigator to stalk a judge, which is probably not a good thing to do if you're a lawyer. My guess, like, you know, shunned upon. I mean, I think that's shunned. You know, people look down upon that. See, you say they're far right, but Lindsay Shepard, definitely a liberal, is on their page. Checkmate, lefters. Fair, you got me. You got me. But yeah, so this is John Carpe. This is who's at this rally. And notice as well, so he began by talking about Section 1. So this is the thing that I've been saying since the start of the pandemic, and I've only noticed that the legal scholars within the anti-vaccine movement and anti-mandate movement haven't talked about Section 1 until now, okay? And the thing that weirds me out about that is I feel like they realized there was grifting potential at the beginning of the pandemic to just tell people that these laws are unconstitutional and go against their charter rights, and they could just say that. And then everyone would donate to them. But now they're realizing that they're losing some of their court cases. And the reason why they're losing some of their court cases is that even though you have a charter right to freely assemble, and you have a charter right for the freedom of expression and other things, some things that might be curtailed during a pandemic, there's also this other part of the charter called Section 1, which limits your other charter rights, such that if there's a case where, say, there's like a virus that has gone all over the planet, and has killed several million people, that maybe some of your freedoms will be curtailed in order for us to deal with the pandemic. They're only now starting to realize that and being honest with the people in the crowds because they're starting to lose their court cases. The grifting potential is starting to run out, is what I'm trying to get at here.
One of the charter does allow, there's a small window where governments in a true emergency can temporarily have minimal violations of rights and freedoms. So there's a small window there in section 1. But the onus is on the government. If the government wants to temporarily, minimally violate some rights and freedoms in respect of a true pressing problem, they have to demonstrably justify that with evidence. The science has to be on their side. And that.
So, that's what he's saying. So he's like, in order for them to justify minimally restricting our charter rights, it has to be justified based on the science. So yes, every time this has come to the courts that, and here's the thing, is the onus isn't actually on the government. I guess maybe the onus is in terms of like the legal adjudication, but really it's up to the courts to decide whether or not it violates the charters or not, like whatever laws the government puts in place. But it's like, I hate to break it to you, anti-vaccine people and John Carpe, but the science is not on your side. It's on the government side in this instance. Hence why you keep losing your court cases. Who would have thought it? Who would have known that would have been the case?
That has not been happening in the last year and 7 months.
Right.
We hear about
then why are you losing?
Then
why are you losing your court cases?
The fact is, Canada's healthcare system is not the greatest in the world. We've had long-standing problems with hallway medicine and overcrowded hospitals for a very long time. And
because conservative people keep like undercutting the spending at our hospitals. But if what Carpe is saying here is true, why is it a global pandemic affecting other countries if like our cases are particularly or the deaths that are happening are particularly the result of our underfunded healthcare system and has nothing to do with COVID-19, as he just fucking said here? It has nothing to do with COVID. It's just that our hospitals suck. Okay, then why is it happening all over the world? They're all in on it. Oh my god.
To suggest that that's caused by COVID is dishonest.
Like, is he denying that COVID is doing anything? Like, how do you explain how are people dying at the hospital? Like, I don't know. Is he saying that people are dying of other reasons and it's being labeled as COVID? Like this is getting like really close to just outright denying that COVID is doing anything. All hospital systems in the world are flawed because of socialism. Fair enough, two cars. You got me.
All hospitals are socialism.
What do you like? Like, this is getting applause. He's literally going, this thing that has killed millions of people, and that people know relatives that have died from this thing. They're wrong. No one's dying. They're dying because our hospitals suck. But they're not dying of COVID. I'm John Carpe. I hired someone to stalk a judge.
Jason Kenney promised in April of 2020 that he would expand the ICU capacity, so we'd have over 1,000 ICU spaces. When that hadn't happened at all after 6 months, he said, well, it's not just about buying equipment, you got to train the people too. Okay, so now we're at a year and 7 months, and why don't we have these extra 1,000 ICU spaces? Why are we being punished and having our rights and freedoms violated and trampled into the ground when the politicians can't get their act together to fix the healthcare system?
Why are you conservatives the people who pushed your conservative candidates to privatize healthcare industries and to like stop funding like hospitals? Like these are the people that supported Kenney back before the pandemic when he made these spending cuts. Isn't it
Jody?
Yeah, go for it, man.
The market would have fixed this all by now.
But then that's not Kenney's fault. That would be the pandemic's fault. Or the
Kenny's fault.
establishment.
It's Kenny's fault for not further privatizing Alberta healthcare so that the market could supply these nurses automatically.
Oh. I hate this. I hate these people so much.
How is that fair? How is that right that we lose our freedoms to move and to travel and to assemble and to associate, and we lose our basic right to bodily autonomy? We lose all these rights and freedoms.
I will say that we haven't lost those freedoms. They've been limited due to Section 1 because we're currently in a global pandemic. There was recently news that there's like a pill that I think will lower hospitalization rates for those who get infected. We are potentially on the cusp of this no longer being a pandemic in terms of the harms that it causes, and it might just become endemic where we treat it and we live with it and we deal with it. And in that case, certain things will be lifted and the emergency will be over. And then Section 1 would not apply to certain things. Right? But they make it sound like this is going to last forever, that it'll be forever. It's never ending. That's not how this works, buddy. I'm sorry. There is an end point, and it's when there's no longer a pandemic. Imagine aliens landing inside ballistic globs and inoculating them with vax guns. That's how it goes. It was supposed to go away when Biden was inaugurated. Right, because it was only based solely on what happened in America. That's why they're flying the American flag in the background.
Because politicians can't get their act together and fix the healthcare system.
I love they fucking love this sign. They love this sign. Let's get another sign shot.
At these freedom marches and rallies. Maybe if we could talk about it. We're out at a protest in Okotoks, a smaller town. How have these mandates affected, and if you can comment on this, smaller towns, rural areas, these communities that are now starting to join the movements and march for freedom together?
Well, it's the same heartbreaking stories. I was just talking to a lady who works for a school board that is going to lose her job if she doesn't succumb to this bullying and take the injection. Mm-hmm. So the smaller towns also have their nurses and teachers, and a man fired from his job after many years at the company. It's
oh my god! I love that is totally not related to anything. Like he names this woman and how she's getting fired from this, and then he's like searching for another example. And the other example is a man fired after 20 years from the company. What company? What man? I don't know. Let's listen to this again. I fucking love it.
Towns also have their nurses and
I love
teachers,
this.
and a man fired from his job after many years at the company. It's just heartbreaking.
A man fired from his job after many years at the company. That, you know what? That would be a fucking tragic tale if I knew anything about this person or why they were fired. Oh my god. The camera's trying to avoid the girl with ill-fitting boots, but she keeps wandering into frame. Yeah. Stronger employment laws. Basic income. There's many solutions here, none of which involve like exacerbating a global pandemic.
And the government is the cause. If it wasn't for the government,
Yeah, they are zooming into.
policies
I
to
just saw her
pressure
there.
people into this, you wouldn't see all the private sector employers pursuing this. You wouldn't see the school boards and the hospitals doing this. So the responsibility is with the provincial government in Alberta that is being a big bully and pressuring people, violating the charter right to bodily autonomy.
And that's actually 100% not true. A lot of private institutions wanted the mandate for a very simple reason. And we talked about this earlier on too, when we had other videos showing this before vaccine passports came down the line, which is that There were businesses that were choosing to say that we will only allow people who wear masks into our store, or we will only allow people who are vaccinated into our store. And whenever there wasn't nationalized mandates, or like even nationalized across like a province, these mandates, then you could pick on each individual store that is choosing to do this, and it would be a site where people can go specifically to protest and yell at them. Which is why having a nationalized program like this actually benefits a lot of these companies. So it puts a lot of pressure off of them, where like they like to think that there's like government is coercing by putting in this mandate and all that fun stuff. But these people who refuse to get vaccinated and refuse to wear a mask are also a coercive force, in that if they didn't get what they want, they were harassing other people. And so therefore, private companies pressured the government, going, look, it'll be easier on us if you pass a nationalized mandate, and then we won't be singled out and harassed. It's that fucking simple. I mean, the other flip side of it is, a lot of companies are like, we're losing money. People want to feel safe when they go shopping. A majority of people want to feel comfortable. And so if we implement a vaccine passport, it's likely that all those people who are still refusing to come into our establishments will start feeling more comfortable and will show up. And that is another reason. In terms of like bottom line, in case I might have sounded a little bit too preferential to companies a few seconds ago that they cared about the workers. It's also having to do with profit, obviously.
I think one thing could be that in a small town in Calgary, let's say there's 100 people working somewhere.
So you were going to say something, Deanna?
No, I just said yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That same business might only have 3 or 4 people in a small town. Losing that one person can have a major impact and affect the whole town. But we're seeing this echoing throughout communities, whether big cities or small. People are losing their livelihoods.
Like, he
People
really
are
wants that
emotionally
like big
upset.
city,
There's
small
heartbreak.
city narrative.
It's an
Eh?
extremely difficult time.
All
Do
the
you have any
small
words of
towns get
encouragement? Is
together.
there any light over the horizon at this time?
In the short run, things are very bleak. I mean, my confidence is that in the long run, truth will triumph over the lies, good will triumph over evil. In the short run, it's just bloody hell, and I wish I had some great words to encourage people, but it's just we have to educate the public out of the irrational fear. COVID is real, but the fear of COVID is exaggerated. And
he was the one earlier basically arguing that it wasn't real. I almost wish you'd be like, the only way that I see that we can get out of it is if I hire more private investigators to stalk judges across this country.
Fortunately, we've had Jason Kenney and Dina Hinshaw a year and 7 months of fear-mongering, and the fear-mongering is still continuing today. Now it's twisted into vilification of unvaccinated people as a bunch of vile disease-spreading lepers, and it's just vicious. When you publicly vilify a minority, it never ends well.
I shall remind everyone here that he defends transphobes and bigots. That's his fucking job. That's all he does. That's what the JCCF is here for. It's what they do. So I love where he's like, if we don't defend minorities, and he's referring to unvaccinated people as minorities. What a fucking champ. What a champ. I need to know if the child successfully demuddied the birth. We will never know. We will never know.
Yesterday, I spoke to a mother, and
oh yeah, here you go. This
she
is another
lost
special
two
case.
sons, 2 adult sons, to the lockdowns and the economic impact it's had. And it makes me so sad to think about the children who have had injections, because I don't know what lies ahead for them.
So this guy, he doesn't know what lies ahead for those children who get the vaccine. So this
spoken medical professional is his title.
Yes. Daniel Nagasi or Nagasi?
That's what he does for a living.
He is an outspoken medical professional. This is the article that I found about this special human being. All right. Doctor who says he gave ivermectin to rural Alberta COVID-19 patients prompts warning from health authority. Okay. Off to a great start. I'll scan past some of this. Turns out that he's a super ivermectin supporter type individual, thinks that the evidence is crystal clear and works perfectly. This article questions whether that is true. We also find out that he's a fill-in. Apparently he's a BC doctor based out of Vancouver, but he was filling in at a place in Alberta. I don't necessarily know what that means, but he was a fill-in. But he is a doctor, so that is true. Okay? Now, you would think, well, for one, in Canada, for those who don't know, it is true that other countries around the world and through health trials, they were giving ivermectin to patients through trials. And that's, it is what it is. And they're giving the human dosed ivermectin, right? So there is ivermectin that is for humans. You can get a prescription for it if you have parasites and other things through your doctor, right? So there's no evidence that it treats COVID-19, but you can get it for other uses. However, because the Canadian medical people did not make it public policy that you can prescribe ivermectin for COVID, you can't actually get human ivermectin to give to patients who suffer from COVID. So, what do we got here? Alberta Health Services has received complaints about Nagasi, who has worked as a fill-in doctor at Rimbey Hospital and Care Centre, 65 kilometers northwest of Red Deer. AHS says he is spreading misinformation. Neither the veterinary nor human drug versions of ivermectin has been deemed safe or effective for use in treating or preventing COVID-19, reads an AHS statement issued earlier this week. Using the veterinary version can pose potentially serious health problems if consumed by humans, AHS said. It is extremely disappointing that someone would spread misinformation about COVID-19 treatment in this way and suggest that AHS is withholding treatments for their patients. CBC News repeatedly called Nagasi's office, but was told he would not be accepting interviews from CBC about his use of ivermectin or the claims made in the video. AHS said Nagasi is not scheduled to work as a locum in AHS and added that because of the complaints, a review will be done. Okay, so in the video posted Monday, Nagasi is shown delivering a speech on October 1st at a Vancouver event marking the 75th anniversary of the Nuremberg trials. In the video, Nagasi said 3 COVID-19 patients in Rimbey had deteriorated overnight and were being treated with oxygen and steroids. Nagasi said he asked for ivermectin to be provided by the Red Deer Hospital's central pharmacy, but was denied and warned the drug should not be used on COVID-19 patients. Nagasi said he sought the help of a town pharmacist who acquired ivermectin for him. He couldn't get from his usual chemical supply because it was a Saturday. He had to get it from an agricultural supply. Nagasi says in the video...
Just your town pharmacist, you know? That's how pharmacy works. Yeah.
He went to the co-op store. In the video, Nagasi claims the drug worked quickly on the patients, allowing all 3 to leave the hospital within a week. 2 of the patients he claims were almost completely better within 18 hours. Now, the one thing I don't like about this article is they don't really go into it, but this makes it sound like this paints it in a positive light in a certain way, that these people somehow magically got better. There is absolutely no way that this is indicative of anything. We do not know anything else about these patients, and it could have been that they would have gotten better on their own anyways. But he's going to claim that,
CBC has been the worst at covering this.
Yeah.
They love to cover the anti-vaxxers and just to give them the platform, basically. They're not critical at all. They don't find out information for themselves.
They at least, here's the thing is, they were critical against the overarching premise at the beginning of the article, but when you go through it and then you reach this point, And then you have him going, well, look, it healed the people, but you don't do any follow-up? Like, what the fuck are you doing, CBC? Jesus Christ. Nagase says that within hours of administering the ivermectin, an AHS medical director barred his patients from receiving the drug or any of the other medications he had prescribed them. He said he was removed from the hospital and relieved of his medical duties the following day. He claims there was something malicious about the care being provided to COVID-19 patients in Alberta hospitals. And then you have a person saying, basically, don't give ivermectin to humans. Or at least agricultural supply ivermectin to humans. So, which I agree. Do not give agricultural supply store ivermectin to humans. This guy is what did they say he is? An outspoken medical professional. Dear fucking Lord. Dear Lord. I can't believe it. So we're gonna watch this thing. I don't even think he brings up the ivermectin thing, but like his claims, I think he talks about like, you know, the system generally being like bad and malicious, and what he went through in terms of him going around his superiors and gave patients something that they weren't allowed to get by going to an agricultural store to get it is not mentioned here, I don't think so. And should be, considering that really you don't really want doctors just to be randomly experimenting on their patients, I would say. I don't think that's a good idea. Unless you get written consent of some kind, and there's an actual study or purpose being done for it.
I've never seen anything like this. I've seen adults with the injections, with things that I've never read in any textbook. The best I can describe it as vasculitis and blood clots. I don't know what's going to happen to children in 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. When the children should be growing up in the prime of their life, starting families, having children of their own. I don't know what's going to happen after 20 years of the mRNA injection. There's a real...
Yeah, I love that. So he's never seen a blood clot? Yeah, exactly. Like, what, like, I'm seeing... He almost has, like, a Jordan Peterson cadence without, like, the accent. So it's like, I've seen so many things I've never seen before. It's pure chaos in the emergency room. We don't know what the rules are anymore. Everyone's dropping dead. They're all vaccine casualties. I love like the drama he's like putting on it. Like, they're just, all these people are getting the vaccine. Like, I've never seen any of this happen before. Dear Lord.
Really good group. They're working in BC, Alberta, and they're starting to get a foothold in Ontario. They're called Ezra, and they're starting out with nurses. They're unemployed nurses who've been kicked out of hospitals because they wouldn't get this experiment. They're getting together to start a separate parallel healthcare system.
I mean, Two Cars asked, true believer or grifter?
Oh, wow.
That's hard. That's hard to assess. I mean, if you go out of your way to get like ivermectin in an agricultural supply store to just give it to people, that tells me that like there's belief somewhere in there, but there's clearly, I don't know, there's also the hustle mindset too, because he's going everywhere giving these speeches, right?
See, I think I'm leaning true believer because this man was a fucking paid doctor and is not anymore. Like,
yeah,
this man was getting money. Although, like, he might have been more true believer and then turned grifter when he got fired from being a doctor.
I mean, that's the thing. It could have been true belief, but now he needs to make his money, and so now he's grifting, you know?
Yeah.
Did you hear what he said about these nurses, though? It was the final
They're
thing
making
he
Ezra.
Said. No, but there was they are Ezra, But then he says something like, let's see the final thing he says here.
They're getting together to start a separate parallel healthcare system.
A separate
they're doing dual power.
parallel healthcare system.
They're Leninists. They're doing communism.
Are they fucking
They're the real vaccine communists.
Ezra Canada. Let's see if I spelt it with an S. Let's see if this is nope, this is something to do with Israel apparently. I'm guessing that's not it. Oh, what? I don't even know how to search from Ezra Canada nurses. Nope, nurse fired over a few. No, that's Ezra Levant. It's giving me Ezra Wellness Clinic in Kamloops. Maybe is this it? Let's do Ezra Clinic Kamloops. See if this pulls up something. I'm just curious in terms of like if they're like a naturopathic center or something. Unvaccinated nurses clinic in Kamloops evicted by business owners 2 days ago. So they've been evicted. Oh, that's cool. Okay, we got an article here. It says COVID-19 unvaccinated nurses clinic in Kamloops evicted by building owner. A private health clinic that was started by unvaccinated nurses last week in Kamloops has been evicted. Okay. I'm just curious of what they do. If you... I just want to know what like their general practices. I was hoping there was some sort of... I guess I can look for Ezra Wellness Clinic now. Now that I know what it is. Pretty sure that's the one. Ezra Wellness Clinic. It would be awesome if it was named after Ezra Levant. Wouldn't that be fantastic? I don't think that's it. Okay. No, I thought maybe they were like chiropractics. Doesn't look like it.
Okay.
This is looking lovely. We get 21 days no eating after dark challenge. Join us. Learn how you and your family can live healthy lifestyles and achieve wellness good goals. Increased energy and healthy body, mind, and soul. Prevent diseases and illnesses. So it's holistic medicine, probably. If this is even the same place. I'm sure it is, because I think it said it was Kamloops. Well, I'm seeing no info on this. About. I don't see any information. It's saying USA, so this might not be the same. This might not be the same one. Let's try this again. They don't have a website. They don't have any information. Is this it? I mean, I can't just might give up in a few seconds, but it would be nice. Why Ezra?
Nom posted a CBC article, I guess, that explains some of it. I don't know.
That's what I'm hoping for. Just at least like some info here. Nope, this is Ford not imposing things. It's just a healthcare clinic with unvaccinated weirdos. They were going to start one in Ontario until Ford removed the bans. Oh, okay, that's why it's. Yeah, I was just curious because like it would be one thing if they were like naturopaths or like chiropractics and stuff like that. That's kind of what I was curious about, which is often the case. Like when you had the nurses out of London that are a part of these nurses that refuse to get vaccinated and sort of like were quitting or being let go, they all had connections to like, you know, fruit juice cleanses and chakra meditations and all that fun stuff. I have family in Kamloops. I can take it around if you want. Yeah, well, I'm just curious what they do. I mean, you don't have to do like an extensive amount of digging, but if they know what the wellness center is doing, I'm curious.
And so that's what we need to do.
Parallel health
Because
systems.
you can't trust the government with your health. I can tell you what I've seen with my eyes in patients who've taken the shot, and there's weird conditions, there's situations that happen that I've never read about. And I was a real nerd, so I read all the textbooks. So
I love this guy. There's just things I see things that I just don't understand. I've read every single textbook. I'm a total nerd. And I love this implication too is you can't trust the government with health. And yet he went against not the government. He went against his colleagues who were like, "Don't do this." And he went and did it. Weird conditions equals staying alive. Yeah, Jesus. We can trust him. He said, no, exactly. We can totally trust him. Trust me, guys. I've read every book. I know more than every other medical practitioner. I figured it out.
So if I haven't seen it before, I haven't read about it before, it's something brand new. And to make something brand new in 2, 3, 4,000 years of human history, it's pretty unusual.
What the fuck?
This is what you're seeing here. This device, not real. This thing that we this technology we're all using, none of it's real. It's all fake. What are we doing here? What are these slides? Nothing's real. Nothing is real. These are not even invented yet. The refreshing taste of Diet Pepsi had yet touched the palate of people. It doesn't exist because it wasn't around 2,000 years ago. We just couldn't figure it out. I fucking love these people. I love these people so much. Oh, yes. Okay, Two Cars has the better explanation, which is that they had these things 2,000 years ago. Diet Pepsi existed 2,000 years ago. Or as Two Cars put it, Jody, they had helicopters and spaceships in ancient Mayan Egypt. They didn't have mRNA.
They didn't have mRNA.
mRNA just never existed. I don't even know what mRNA is.
Yeah, their DNA just made itself. The mRNA was just like that's a recent addition.
See what I watched this video and I was like, this is I think the best COVID thing that we want. These people are just nuts. Everything about this one. I'm just like, whoa. What a special time to be alive.
This one?
It's almost done.
Your body can do things that science can't, right? And that's what makes me so upset about this spike protein vaccine.
Oh my god.
It's a spike protein vaccine that's supposed to make an antibody to one part of the outside of the virus, one nubbin. All the virus has to do is change that one nubbin on its coat. It's like changing your socks, and then the virus is back in business. It is the stupidest idea for a vaccine ever.
I bet you none of them understood a single fucking thing he said until he was like, it's the worst vaccine ever, and then they're all like, yeah!
No, he said it's like changing your socks. I understand how to change my socks.
Okay. I love it. What did he say at the beginning there too? He was like, your body, science can't know your body or something. I don't even know anymore. This is so amazing. Nubbin is one of the best words. How dare he use it for evil? Well, yeah, the spike protein, it has nubbins. There are nubbin proteins.
Okay, I'm here with Dr. Daniel Nagase. I wanted to ask you, you talked a little bit about some of the alternative treatments that are available. I wanted to ask you about the ideological opposition that we're experiencing from the federal government and regional authorities to providing treatment beyond the vaccine. It seems that if any doctors want to help their patients with any other methodologies, they're being shut down. Can you explain that?
I have no idea. This is completely unprecedented in history. I mean, even if a medication has a 1% treatment effect, but it does no harm.
Yeah, but we read the article, it does harm. But I mean, this is the old canard about like alternative medicine. Like you get a lot of like what they call like CAM practitioners, which is complementary and alternative medicine, and they're like, well, why wouldn't? And the reason why they like complementary as opposed to alternative, right? So like complementary itself was like what is it, like a euphemism? The idea was like our treatments are not just an alternative; they're complements. So they can be used with these science-based treatments. But then at the end of the day, you're like, complementing science-based treatments doesn't magically make the science-based treatments like better. Like if you complement it with nothing, you don't add anything. Or sometimes you make it worse. Like if you like, I don't know, complement something with like acupuncture, which could like infect somebody by like unsterilized needles and general discomfort or something. That does not make it better. No, in solidarity. So yeah, I just saw, what's this? Yes, shut down. Anybody? What? I don't even understand your comment, Meatball Music Man, but shut down antibody treatments to southern states at a time they need it most because it is unequitable. What a joke the federal government is right now. I don't even like. We have a statement like that we will ban people in chat who are anti-vaccine, but your statement is so incoherent that I don't even know that it is anti-vaccine. So I don't know. Try again, and we'll see whether you get banned or not. Oh my god.
Then there's no reason to stop anyone from trying. Even if it just makes you 1% better, right? So the fact that...
Yeah, but it could make you 1% worse, which is why you don't willy-nilly just try whatever the fuck you want on people. Could you imagine if doctors had free reign to not only give you, like, what's scientifically proven to work, but they're just like, I'm also going to give you some bleach, just in case. What? Just give you a little
miracle
bleach.
Minerals.
Yeah, the miracle mineral solution. Yeah.
That you are trying to stop pharmacists and doctors and patients from taking something that's harmless. It's criminal. It is absolutely criminal. It's like telling a patient you can't have water because it might be too hot. There's no logical reason for Health Canada to be behaving this way. There's no logical reason for the health minister to be behaving this way. There's no logical reason why the College of Physicians and Surgeons in every province in Canada should be behaving this way. This is completely unreasonable.
The water example is kind of silly because there's actually regulations in this country that determined the heat of the water that you can provide in like coffee and stuff like this sold, or like hot beverages sold at restaurants. Because guess what? If you drink scalding hot water, that can harm you. It can harm you. Which is why there are regulations in place. If you give horse paste to patients who are humans, you can harm them. It's not like, that's the reason why you lost your job and you're under review, is because this could harm people. You fucking clown. When will this person start selling a line of colloidals? Soon. Dude never had a too hot drink. Yeah. Did you ever? I'm pretty sure most people here are probably familiar with it, but the McDonald's case with the hot water, it was like back in I think it was in the 90s when that happened. It was like it made the rounds on like talk shows and stuff like this, and it was used kind of to like prevent or to talk about frivolous lawsuits, where this like old woman apparently sued a McDonald's because the coffee was too hot. And they were like, oh, the hot coffee, it's so hot, like, and it was so frivolous, and like, oh, she got a bunch of $1 million. Well, like, all these whiny people should complain about everything then and just get paid because we're such a weak society doing all these frivolous lawsuits. when it's like this woman, and like laws were put in place to like restrict lawsuits for everyday people, make it harder for us to do them to benefit corporations. When in her case, McDonald's handed her a cup of coffee and she put it like between her legs to finish the transaction, and the lid popped off and she spilt it all over her lap, and she had third-degree burns on her legs. Like, like hot drinks when served in restaurants can fucking harm you. And she was like damaged severely from that drink. And so rightfully sued. And like legislation was put in place to regulate the temperature that McDonald's can keep their coffee. You should not get third-degree burns because you spilled a drink. No, right? Like, she was hospitalized. Like, they make it sound like, oh, she spilled a drink. No, she was hospitalized. Well, yeah, I don't think she fully healed by the time she died, too. Like, she suffered complications until her death. It's a tragic story. And it was, like, mocked endlessly on, like, Jay Leno, David Letterman, like, late night shows were like would make fun of it, and like talk shows would make fun of it. There's a great movie, I can't remember the name of it. It was it might have been called Hot Coffee. I mean, like the rest, there's other cases in that movie that weren't great because like the point was they were like just talking about certain cases. I can't remember, but it started with the hot coffee one, and that one is serious. That woman did suffer. Yeah, no, it was not great. But like what this dude is advocating for, and what the right wing always advocates for, is to just like fuck the regulatory system completely. Who needs regulations? Just fucking deal with it. What a terrible way to live.
And they've adopted experimental vaccines, and yet tested and proven things which may be not necessarily proven effective against COVID, but proven safe for human consumption has been banned. You mentioned you've never seen anything like this before. Why are so many doctors
proven safer? Ivermectin has not been proven safer than the vaccines. In fact, several people have been hospitalized for taking horse paste.
Doctors going along with this?
I don't know. I think fear is a big factor.
That's a small count compared to the millions that have died from.
Yes. You nailed it. But didn't you know fear is the mind killer?
It is. He's right about that. I read that in Dune.
Why are so many doctors going along with this?
I don't know. I think fear is a big factor. I can't explain it. It's like all science, all logic, all reasoning has just gone out the window.
Which is why I'm alone in this. I am so smart. I have outwitted every other person who's ever looked into this. I am the only one standing above the fray with complete knowledge because I'm a super nerd who's read every single book. How many... You know, if you had a clean room, you could read every single book. Another Joe Rogan connection? Jody doing a David Lynch Twin Peaks impression. You know, I think I need a little bit like more liquid in my throat. My Jordan Peterson is drying up. What is this? A new documentary looks back at a famous cup of McDonald's hot coffee? What was the Joe Rogan connection?
It's an article about.
Yeah, it's about the documentary that I saw.
Fear Factor.
Oh, Fear Factor?
Fear Factor and Joe Rogan. No, I guess you must have mentioned the Fear Factor.
Oh, fear is the mind killer. I get it. I get it. We made it.
And, you know, what can take
Jordan Peterson does have a way of
thoughtful,
trying people up.
people and turn them into just illogical fools? To me, I think fear.
And finally, perhaps any words of encouragement to doctors out there who are maybe on the fence, want to help their clients but are afraid. Any words to encourage them to take
Harm
that step
your
and to do their job as
patients.
doctors?
Follow your heart.
True.
That's right, doctors.
True.
Follow your heart.
Follow your heart. It will never leave you astray.
I want a doctor in the room with their patient and just be like, you know, I was going to provide you this scientifically based medicine, but my heart tells me that what you need is horse tranquilizers. Let me go to the feed store. I'll be right back. I'm following my heart.
And then if you want to get into Plato,
oh my god,
justice in Plato's world is excellence of the soul. So if you're doing something in life, doesn't matter what it is, and you do it to the excellence of your soul, that is justice. So if you're doing something that you know in your soul is not right,
Is
or
that
is
good
not
medicine,
excellence, then that's not justice, that's injustice.
Well, the Foothills Freedom Rally here in Okotoks,
Okay.
Alberta is
No.
My brain is broken. My brain is broken.
Just...
Get it out, piano.
It's like 20 more seconds. We can do it.
No, listen. Don't you think? I think this is just the outro spiel. There's nothing.
wrapping up with the crowd having marched to the streets of Okotoks. They're now headed home, but the March for Freedom certainly will carry on week after week here in Okotoks. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in for Rebel News. I'm Adam Soos.
All right, so Plato. What do you tell doctors? Well, Plato. What was like? You need to believe you have an excellent soul, and that's what justice is. Listen, the one thing I can say that I'm qualified for is philosophy. I do have a master's degree in philosophy. I have read a lot of Plato, okay, in order to obtain my degree. In fact, I took several courses on ancient philosophy where I had to read many of the dialogues.
Oh,
I don't
many,
know
but
what
not
the
all.
fuck he's talking about. You're right, you got me. I did not read every single Plato dialogue. But, like, I know I've read the one about justice. I can't, like, off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly which one it is. I know that I have. I have a feeling it might just be from the Republic. But, I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about.
Hello, my rebels. Hello, my rebels. I'm a good boy. I'm a weirdo.